Hello, my friends. Yes, it is Monday, August 7th, and it is time for Fun Day Monday. But before we do the Fun Day Monday drawing, we are going to have a little bit of information that we're going to share with you about protecting your real estate investment. Of course, this is all real estate with Rosa. In the meantime, as you probably notice, we're doing Fun Day Monday. So if you have some time, right, to visit Fun Day Monday with Rob.com. Again, Fun Day Monday with Rob.com. Then you will be included in the August drawing. But right now, what we're going to do is we are going to do the July drawing. But before we do that, and hey, Beth, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you listening in on some of this great real estate information that we have. I have some information from this book, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, that I want to review with you. I have some awesome information from our realtors.com and our realtor association that I want to share with you. So I got a lot of great stuff. I got some stuff. Hey, Debbie, thank you so much for joining us. So what we're going to ask you to do right from the start is, please, my friends, share with your friends, share with someone who is maybe thinking about buying a home, maybe thinking about selling a home. Maybe they need help with credit repair. Maybe they need help with the real estate pre-licensing classes. Tommy, Kenny, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate that. And the more you share with people, the more we'll be able to get the word out that, hey, we're going over some excellent information. We appreciate likes, we appreciate shares, and we appreciate the opportunity to be of help, to be of value to you during this time period, right? And so at the same time, I have quite a few different feeds that we have going out here with different social media. So we're going to do our best that if you leave a question, hey, Vilma, hey, Jonathan, thank you so much for joining us. If you leave a question in the comments, I want to be able to see those and hopefully get back to you as soon as I can with that particular info. All right. So we're excited to be able to give you that information and help you out every step of the way. Hey, Davis, thank you so much for joining us and so forth as well. So first of all, let's go over some information about, what's going on with the marketplace. So here's the story, my friends. Let's talk about it from a national standpoint. From a national standpoint, we're going to have to talk about, we're still in June numbers. I haven't gotten July numbers, but we were averaging somewhere between 400,000 to 500,000 listings, right? 400,000 to 500,000 homes on the market during the month of June. Okay. They say, meaning the real estate experts, right, that in order to have a balanced market, and when we mean balanced, we're talking about buyers and sellers having about the same power, not having too much leverage. We probably need closer to 1.5 million listings. We have 400,000. We need about 1.5 million. All right. So the inventory is still an issue, right? And that's what's affecting that supply. That's what is affecting affordability, because we know that when we don't have enough inventory, even though maybe this increase in the interest rates did change things slowly, right, and is cooling things down slowly, right, the affordability of homes is still a little bit difficult for many people. Okay. So to that point, right now is the time, and I want to share this information with you, right? Right now is the time that for investors specifically, and this is an article that's right from Lawrence Yun, right? He is the chief economist of the National Association of Realtors. Right now is a great time for investors to unload their home. Absentee owners, well, guess what, absentee owners? You're dealing with a lot of risk, right? You're dealing with a lot of issues that come up. So right now, might be that time for you to unload that property. Hey, Sunny. Hey, Natural. Hey, Morning Cloud. Thank you so much for joining us. So we know that real estate investors have done very well the last few years. Rents have risen and home appreciation has been quite exceptional. Now, of course, it's not all rainbows and sunshine, because we know that also insurance has gone up big time, right? Taxes have gone up big time. But in the past 3 years, the typical rental rate and typical home price have soared by 16.4%, right? Typical rental rate soared by 16.4%. Typical home price, 35.5%. How much longer are you going to wait? I mean, over the past 5 years, rental rates have gone up 24.9%. That's almost 25% over the last 5 years. And home prices have gone up about 50.8%. I mean, that's pretty darn impressive. So, and these returns, they were happening or occurring at a time when it was low cost financing, when the interest rates were really pretty low. Tony, me, Pablo, Zeke, LaFour, thank you so much for joining us. And again, anyone who has any questions or comments, please make sure you put them in, because we'd love to be able to answer them. So we're talking about right now being a great time for investors to unload. Now is the time for them to sell. Home prices are already starting maybe just a little bit to retreat in some markets, not necessarily right now in Connecticut yet, but we don't have the July numbers yet. So we don't know, right? We still got to take a look at the July numbers. Have some sparkling water with watermelon flavors, pretty good. Okay, so there are 44 million renter households. Half live in mid-sized to large apartment buildings. So there's 44 million renter households in the United States, okay? And although a lot of these apartments are not necessarily competitive as a single family rental, there's a 40-year high in multi-family construction. So we know everywhere we look, and I appreciate your questions and your comments and so forth. We know, at least here in Connecticut, everywhere we look, oh, we're building luxury apartments. Well, you know, they're building luxury apartments because those developers make money on luxury apartments. Okay, they are able to have a cash flow coming to them for years and years and years. And I appreciate your likes, Violet, Jacob. Hey, Jacob had a question for us. So we got our first question of the day. Why is the wine upside down? So, Jacob, what we want to do is we want to try to do everything we can to not let that vino spoil, right? In order for that vino not to spoil, that cork needs to stay just a little bit wet, right? And it needs to stop any airflow from coming into the bottle. So that's why it's upside down. And I appreciate your question. All right. So that's good stuff, though. All right. Appreciate that. So what we're talking about is that rental growths are already starting to change, right? Because it's still rising just a little bit, but there's more building of apartment buildings pretty darn quick. That's where their home builders are making their profits, right? That's where they have large companies that are on the maybe the stock exchange, and they get investors and so forth. That's where they make their long-term money. Okay. Whereas when it comes to like existing homes, the inventory is still remaining slow. We need a lot more homes on the market when it comes to regular residential existing homes on the market. Okay. So this is the time for investors to take advantage of the rental rates, right? And all the money that you've collected for that, because we know in a lot of cases, the rental market is pretty darn tough, right? And those home prices have gone up. So if you have been thinking for a while, oh my gosh, you know what? I've owned this property. I got to spend time. I have to go to court. I have to do evictions. I have to deal with leasing. I want to be done with it. I've made my money. Hey, Sabrina, IKEA, Corey, thank you so much. I've made my money in real estate. Well, now might be that time to take a moment and put it on the market, even if you only want to go fishing for a while. Maybe you want to see, well, what can I really get for this property? Well, now might be that time when you can do that. All right. At the same time, now is a great time before we go on to our next topic, which is about protecting your investment. Now might be a great time for you to actually go to Funday, Funday, Monday with Rob.com. All one word. Funday, Monday with Rob.com, because pretty soon we're going to get ready to do the drawing. Now, when you do that today, you're going to be in the drawing for August. Right now, today, we're going to do the drawing from July. So, those are all the people who went in there in July. All right. So what we talked a lot about today was, okay, first of all, it's a great time for investors. Now might be that time that you are going to want to take it to the next step and be able to get that money back that you've put into the house. So now what I'd like to do is I'd like to talk a little bit about the wonderful world of protecting your investment. Right. And so what does that really mean, protecting your investment? So one of the things that I'm going to do here is I need to just flip this camera over here so that you can see it. Right. All right. Protecting your investment. So a guide for at-risk homeowners. Right? A guide for at-risk homeowners. Let's talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about, well, what does this mean for you? Well, we know, right? We know that there are a lot of people who there was a huge impact for them when the wonderful situation of came out in 2020, right? And that situation was swift. It was unexpected. It left many people in a financial emergency. So if you are a homeowner who's struggling or unable to meet those obligations of your mortgage, well, guess what? I can help you with that, right? I'm a housing expert. I have done plenty of short sales. If you don't want to move, we can also find other solutions. I have partners such as mortgage partners who are definitely more than happy to help us with this situation every step of the way. Okay. So don't wait too long until you fall behind to seek help. Acting quickly may help you keep your home, right? And the money you have already invested into it. Okay. So we have a lot of different resources for you that we can help you out. The first one is a possible repayment plan. Now, I thought it was really important to kind of go over this with people because you know what? I've seen some people actually get taken advantage of, right? I've seen some people who found themselves in a bad situation. They weren't sure, they didn't know what to do, and it became an issue for them. So let's talk about this repayment plan. If you can't afford reinstatement, but you can start making payments to catch up, the lender may let you pay an additional amount each month until you're caught up. So that would be a great repayment plan because a lot of times if you get caught behind on your mortgage, right, you're not going to be able to just pay that amount unless you pay it in full. So this would be great to have a repayment plan for you. Okay. I had a couple of people, let's just stop for a moment. One said they want to talk about building your credit. So we will definitely talk about that because yes, I do help people with credit repair and help people build their credit. The other one, it says, I'm in Connecticut, can't pass my exam. Do you offer classes to help? Yes, I do. Reach out to me, get on my private profile and DM me, or you can get on my YouTube page, smartreadvice.com. That will help you, or you can just give me a call, right? If you Google Rob Rosa, again, Google Rob Rosa, you're going to find me. I'm here in Connecticut. You can give me a call. You can give me a text. And I help people all throughout the state, my friend. So we can figure that out. All right. So the next point is loan modification, right? Your lender may agree to amend your mortgage. So, what are some of the options for that? Where am I located in Connecticut? I spend most of my time in central Connecticut, but guess what? Sometimes I'm right down by the shore helping people buy and sell houses. Sometimes I'm up in Litchfield County. Sometimes I'm up in Putnam. Yesterday I was down in Norwich. I'm all over the place and I can be able to help you. All right. So, what are some of the options for loan modification? One of them is adding all the missed payments to the loan amount and increasing the monthly payment to cover the larger loan. So that might not be something that you want because you might want a lower monthly payment, but that might be something to get you so that you're not in arrears anymore. So you might want to think about that. The next one, giving you more years to pay off the loan, lowering the interest rate, and or forgiving part of the loan to lower your monthly payment, right? So that's where I've seen a lot of people, right, who have gotten taken advantage of, this one specifically, because they don't realize that, guess what? Usually when they forgive part of the loan, if they do, then a lot of times you might get a 1099 for that. Or a lot of times what they will do is they will put that amount to the end of the loan. And then you go to sell your home. And then you realize, wow, I can't sell my home unless this is paid off as well, because maybe the paperwork is not done 100%. Okay. So you're going to really want to make sure that you are very, very careful when you're signing this paperwork and that you understand it 100%. Okay. The next option might be switching from an adjustable rate mortgage to something that is fixed, right? So you aren't exposed to increases in your monthly payment. So, we don't see that happen a lot because recently there haven't not been a lot of people who have found adjustable rate mortgages to work out for them. But there still might be some people like that, and you should be really careful with that. And then another option might be requiring amounts for taxes and insurance to be included with your monthly mortgage so you avoid big bills. Okay. So that is something you want to be careful of. Now, as being your real estate broker for life, hopefully your favorite real estate broker. Hey, Sarah, thank you so much for joining us. As being that person for you, right? One of the things that I want to let you know is that I'm available to help you with that. So talking to your lender or loan servicer, I can get involved with you in order to talk with that person, right? And we can discuss some of these possible steps for you that might help you if you have a problem right now with your mortgage. So the first one, forbearance. Okay. Lenders may let you make a partial payment or skip payments. You'll have to repay any missed or reduced payments in the future. And here's the big thing. Forbearance does not erase what you owe. So like I spoke about a few minutes ago, right? This is where people might think, oh, yes, this is going to be forgiven and I don't have to worry about it. Well, that is not at all the truth. Usually, in fact, what will happen is that forbearance will make it so that the money goes at the end that you didn't realize. And what ends up happening is you still owe that money, my friend. So be really, really careful about that. Okay. Be really, really careful about forbearance and putting payments in the future at the end of the loan, because ultimately you might find yourself with a problem. And just taking a quick moment, once again, hey, Stella, Jester, thank you, Summer. Thank you so much for joining us. What we're really talking about here is basically some risk that people have when they get behind on their mortgage, when they're not sure what to do. I'm definitely here to help you with that every step of the way and help give you advice and help get you in touch with the right people. Another opportunity might be for you is reinstatement, right? Reinstatement refers to making a payment that covers all your late payments, usually at the end of the forbearance period. So, again, what are they going to do? They're going to say, okay, you're behind $12,000 because of interest and taxes and all that good stuff and penalties. And so we're going to put this at the end of a 2-year period or 4-year period or 6-year period, right? So that might be something that you're going to want to look out for. Now, some of these might work out great for you, and other ones, once again, right, might be something that you really, really, really want to be careful of. So let's talk about some of the warning signs, right? Some of the things to be careful of when you are talking about these loan terms and what people might say to you. So the first one might sound too easy. Hey, we're going to give you a guaranteed approval or no income verification, regardless of the borrower's employment, regardless of your credit history, regardless of your assets. Well, really think about that. Does that sound too easy? Does that sound too good to be true? Right. And so that is one of the things you have to be careful of. You should be careful of, because usually that's not going to be the case, my friends. Come on. Let's be smarter than that. We understand what's going on. How about this one? Large future costs. Let's put out these huge costs out to the future, right? These are high risk adjustable rate mortgages where the payment rises a lot after the teaser rate period. It's seldom appropriate for families who have already had problems. So that you don't want to get something that's just going to help you out temporarily, right? You don't want to get something where it's just going to help you out for the next few months and you're not sure about it and it might actually hurt you in the long run. So just make sure that you are really careful about large future costs. Okay. How about barriers to refinancing? Maybe for some reason we're talking about prepayment penalties that make it hard for a borrower to refinance in order to pay off a high cost loan by taking advantage of a low cost loan. So be careful about prepayment penalties. You shouldn't see that. How about no down payment loans? Right? No down payment loans. Yes, I help people buy homes with no down payment loans. I'm not going to lie to you, but these are usually programs that are basically administered, approved, guaranteed by the state. And ultimately, these are programs where, yes, I can help you buy a home with no money down, but the interest rates and the closing costs are usually going to be very, very competitive. And it definitely is much better than you renting. Who wants to just make someone else wealthier every month, right? When you could start building your own wealth. Okay. And then, of course, unethical document management, right? You want to make sure that you are reading what you are signing. Do not sign a blank document or a document dated before the date that you signed. You want to understand what you're signing. You ask as many questions as you need to. Hey, New Jay, Team Smile, Tissot, thank you so much for joining us. You want to make sure that you read, because I see people all the time pretty much just signing a document without even really looking at it. Okay. Now, realtors such as myself, if you don't know, being a real estate agent, I have to take ethics courses, right? I have a code of ethics that I abide by. And so when we talk about ethics, right, I want you to know, hey, I'm in the business of helping people. This is what I've been doing for over 20 years. And I want to help people, whether they want to become homeowners, whether they want to stop being an investor and they want to benefit from cashing out on their properties, right? Whether they want to get into buying a business, I help people with that. Whether they want to help get their credit taken care of, I help people with that. So we are in the business of helping people, and we want to do everything we can to make sure you can afford to stay in that home when you buy one with us. One of the worst things that I see is that I help someone, we spent all kinds of time and energy, and we did everything they could to help get them in that home. And then 1, 2, 3 years later, they realize, hey, it's not something that they can handle. They went about it maybe the wrong way. Maybe they didn't use the right real estate agent, right? Maybe they did not use the right lender. So let's talk about a couple of those items. So first, if your current lender isn't willing or able to help, let's talk to another one. I can find you a responsible lender, right? Someone that we can trust. And I say we because we're in this together. Someone that we can trust, someone that's going to care about you, and someone that makes fair and affordable loans. Okay. So that's the next step. Now, some things you also have to be careful of is be careful about the wonderful world of, we see the commercials every day. We hear about it. We see the signs, right? Cash for houses, any situation. We buy houses for cash. Okay. Well, I'm not trying to disparage every one of those people. What I am trying to tell you is that almost always, how's that for you? Almost always, right? I can sell that property for more on the market, even as is. You can give me the keys. We go over the listing documents and walk away, and I can almost always sell that home just as fast and for more money than any investor coming along. Now, I might be getting a lot of investors mad at me right now by saying that. I might be getting some of these cash for houses people angry with me. But guess what? A lot of those are scams, and they bait homeowners with the promise of rescuing them because of the imminent foreclosure. Well, you know what? In most cases, like I said, you sell it as is, you walk out of that house and head down to North Carolina or wherever it is that you plan on moving to, and leave it up to me and my team. And we're going to be able to help you every step of the way with that, so that you don't have to feel like you're being taken advantage of. You're with a person who's going to be able to look out for you and care for you every step of the way. All right. And then lastly, one of the things we like talking to people about is that there are some counseling resources, right? There's HUD. You can call them up. And you can even basically, if you need to, I can get you in touch with a lender. That might be a lawyer. That might be a person that you're going to want to talk to defend you in foreclosure court, or maybe even to negotiate for you on your behalf. Right? That might be someone that you're going to want to look out for. At the same time, one of the excellent things I have for you, which I think is really, really very helpful, right, is what we call a short sale team or a debt negotiating team, right? So this debt negotiating team, not only are they going to be able to make it streamlined and easier for you, but also they're going to be looking out for you, fiduciary obligations, to make sure that we are helping you every step of the way. And I have Sarah, hey, we're looking for an investment property to flip. Yes, definitely. In fact, I'm ready even to help you sell your current investment property. You let me know, Sarah, I'm available for you. I've helped you and your family out a couple of times already, and I definitely appreciate the opportunity to do that. I definitely appreciate, every step of the way to be able to help you out. All right, so let's take a break. Let's have some fun stuff from the wonderful world of real estate information, right? And let's talk about Fun Day Monday, my friends. Okay. So what Fun Day Monday really is it is a drawing that we do once a month, right? We have a lot of fun with it because it's really not real estate related, right? What it really is to do something different. And so, how can you basically play a part in the wonderful world of Fun Day Monday? Okay. Well, let me give you some ideas. So, the first thing, all you need to do is go to fundaymondaywithrob.com. Again, that's fundaymondaywithrob.com, right? And so you probably see, some of you might see the ticker on there. And what it's going to do is it's going to bring you to this page right here. Okay. Fun Day Monday with Rob. Now, once again, this is for real. It puts you in a drawing. It's something that we do, and you can win a $25 Amazon gift card, right? Gift certificate. You know, what would you buy, or who could you give it to as a gift? I mean, you got to give me some likes for that. Share this with people. Tell them, go to fundaymondaywithrob.com and you're going to be put into the drawing. And all you're really going to do is fill out the form below, right? If you choose the correct answer to the quiz question, your name will be entered into the drawing for that $25 gift certificate to Amazon.com. And it's that easy. And then usually, you know, it says I will announce the winner later this week. Well, I usually wait a couple of weeks. I usually wait 2-3 weeks because I want to give everyone a chance to answer their email. You know, if you're on our list, once you go to fundaymondaywithrob.com, again, fundaymondaywithrob.com, if you're on that list, then what you're going to actually do is you're going to be able to get an email once a month automatically. Hey, Kenny, thank you so much for joining us. Sophie, thank you so much for joining us. And so once a month, you're going to get an email such as this, and it's going to say, you know, for example, what band passed on an invitation to play at Woodstock? Now, don't answer me right now. If you put that in the comments, I can't include you in the drawing. You have to go to fundaymondaywithrob.com. And you just have to basically come to this form and say, yes, I want to be entered into the drawing. And here's my information, right? This is open to the residents of the United States, Canada, and so forth. There's no purchase necessary. Any kind of purchase will not improve any odds of winning. So if you send me some kind of special gift, it doesn't mean that, you're going to be the person to win. All right. So and does anybody have any questions on fundaymondaywithrob.com? All right. So if you don't have any questions, then my friends, I have the exciting announcement to make. Well, what's that exciting announcement to make, Rob? What are you talking about? Yes, we are going to announce. All right, Sarah, I'm happy you did it. Who else did it? Anybody else did it? Right? So what we're going to do is we're going to announce July's winner. And I did the whole thing. I didn't do it in front of everybody because I got a lot going on here behind the scenes. You might realize it and you might not. Trying to keep this live going, right, with many different social media outlets and so forth. But we already picked the winner. And the winner for July Fun Day Monday with Rob is Jacqueline Carroll. So Jackie, she's a woman that I've known for a lot of years. There's no hanky-panky going on. You know, we just picked her name out of a hat. But she's a person that I've known for a lot of years. And she probably answered the Fun Day Monday question 17 times, just so you know, once a month. You know, she's been in there she's missed a few months here and there, but almost every month I see her in there. So Jackie, congratulations. You're going to get an email from me shortly and a phone call congratulating you. And it's going to have, the email is going to have the Amazon gift card for $25. So congratulations on that, Jackie. All right, my friends. So now we're not done yet. We still have some real estate data. We still have plenty of real estate information to go over. So, what I wanted to go over next with you is particularly buying a property, buying a home, how to do it, what's the best way to do it, what's the way to close the deal. Because I can tell you right now, there's a lot of people out there that they're talking like it's impossible to buy a house. And one of the things that I can promise you is that it is not impossible to buy a house. Okay. It's not impossible at all to buy a house. Basically, we're having closings every single week. Okay. But what does it come down to? What are some of the things that you need to look out for? Hey, Emmanuel. Hey, KD. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. And again, as we're going through this, please put any questions you might have. Give me some likes. Give me some shares. Sarah, specifically, I'm looking for some referrals from you, my friend. I've known you for a while, so I appreciate you. But, let's talk about, okay, well, how are we going to get you to the finish line when you go to buy that house? Right? Well, what do some of these terms mean? What are some of the things that we have to be careful of, that we have to be looking out for? How can we make that happen for you? Okay. So let's say, we start signing that paperwork, right? Maybe we were able to entice that seller to buy a home. Well, let's talk about the closing, because that's what it all comes down to. The wonderful grand finale, the moment when you actually get the keys. I mean, who doesn't love that? That moment when you actually get the keys, when the house is yours, right? You're almost there, but let's run through some questions that you may have. So the first one is, well, what does having a closing mean? What does that really mean? Well, that's a settlement. That's when you sign the final ownership and insurance paperwork that's needed to get the keys to your new home. Sounds pretty simple and easy, right? But people don't usually know, well, what does that mean? What do I need to do? Well, what you're usually going to do is you're usually going to talk with your lender or your paralegal, right? And they're going to be waiting for information and for documents to come from who? From your lender in most cases, unless, of course, you are blessed enough to be buying the home in cash, right? They're usually going to be waiting for you to be able to come to the closing table with that, within 4 to 6 weeks with the funds, right? And even be able to get those funds that are being held in escrow. Okay. So your lender, if you are giving a mortgage, well, one of the things that they need to give you is what's called a CD. Well, what do you mean, Rob, CD? I thought they don't make those anymore. Now everybody just downloads music. Come on, we're not talking about a compact disc, right? What are we really talking about? We're talking about a closing disclosure, my friends, right? We're talking about a document that you will get usually about 3 days before settlement, right? In fact, the lenders, by federal law, they have to give you one of these closing disclosures. You have 3 days to review the CD, the closing disclosure. Hey, Sarah, thank you so much for joining us. Well, here's the next question, my friends, right? What did we talk about just a few minutes ago? What we talked about is making sure that you're reviewing all the documents that are needed. Right? That's what we talked about. Making sure that you're reading it, compare it to the loan estimate that you received shortly after you applied for the loan. Right? So you remember back in the old days, about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, when you finally got your pre-approval and then you finally got a purchase and sale agreement signed. Well, what did you do? You received a loan estimate back then. And so you might need a refresher on those numbers. You might need a refresher on those numbers. So you're going to want to make sure that none of the numbers have changed and that you understand how much your loan is going to be. You see, this is a formal review process. And this process is for you to make sure that there are no, right? And I mean none, I mean zero, I mean zilch, no surprises at the closing table. Because if there's surprises at the closing table, then somehow, somewhere, someone either didn't read things correctly, especially if there's a significant discrepancy. If there's a significant discrepancy, like big numbers, that means maybe someone's trying to play games, right? And so we're going to have to make sure we talk with the lender right away. We talk with the title company right away. Okay. And so if things have to change, right? If things have to change on those closing documents, that means that you get a new 3-day review period in order to review those numbers. Okay. Now, the loan estimate, what also may it include? It's going to include a couple of items that cannot change. That's right. I said the word can't, right? Can't change by the time you get the CD, the closing documents, unless you were told about them and you agreed to, and maybe some things happen. So a lot of times it's the interest rate and the lender fees, but sometimes people leave that interest rate as a floating rate. You see, and then that becomes an issue. And they were like, oh, well, I thought I was going to get this rate. Yeah, but if you were told that like 4 months ago, before you were even had a home under deposit, then you're probably not going to get that same rate, right? You're probably not going to get that same rate. There's also some items that can change by only 10%. And those might be like local government recording fees. Those might be things like title insurance and so forth. And then there's also other things that can change without a limit, like prepaid interest, because we're not sure on what's the exact day that you're going to be able to close. Okay. So let's also talk about the wonderful world of the final walkthrough. Okay. So every now and then I get a buyer who, they're very analytical person. They're on top of everything. And they're saying to me, hey, listen, can we do the final walkthrough a couple of days before in case there's a problem? And I tell them no. And most people, they're not used to people saying no, especially when they're the client, especially when they're the customer. They're like, what do you mean by no? No means no, right? Aren't we taught that? No means no. Well, the point is I say, listen, the reason why I say no, that we're not going to do the final walkthrough a couple of days before, is because I want to do the final walkthrough right before the closing. I want to make sure that there is nothing wrong with the house, that some teenagers did not break into the house and put a bunch of graffiti, that people didn't go into the home and rip out copper or rip out wiring and so forth. And I want to make sure we do that right before you, as the buyer, as my client, as someone that I'm looking out for, as someone that I care about, right? I want to make sure that you have seen the house and see what's going on with the home right up until the closing documents are signed. So during this walkthrough, we're going to double check that everything in the house is in good working order, right? I love to walk through the house, not to say I'm an inspector, but I turn on all the water faucets. I check for leaks under the sinks. I flush the toilets. I open up doors. I close doors. The worst thing to me, I'm going to turn on the central air. I'm going to turn on the heat, because the worst thing to me is after you sign all those documents, I don't want you to just be driving home and then go to use the toilet after having a long day and moving furniture, and you want to maybe wash up a little bit or use the toilet, and then it doesn't flush or it leaks all over the place. I mean, I can't control everything in a real estate closing, but I'm trying to make sure, right, that if we negotiated any items during the inspection period, that those things are done, that you have copies of those receipts of things that were done, right? We want to make sure that that is in place. And we want to make sure that when you go to that closing table, you are feeling good, right? Once in a great while, worst case scenario, maybe we have to delay the closing to resolve problems, or maybe we have to ask the seller to put money in escrow to make sure that those things are done. But most of the time, we can resolve these problems for you to make sure that you're happy, to make sure there's no big problems going on, right? Hey, nice try, Georgie, Thiago. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you all. And again, I appreciate anybody who will share this live feed and who will give us some likes. We definitely appreciate that. Now, who's invited to the closing? Take a quick sip here. And I will tell you, it depends. And it depends on more of what information of what we even have written here. First of all, it depends on your lawyer, your attorney, and how he or she wants to handle this whole thing. Because in many cases, things have changed significantly since 2020. You know, very rarely do we have those good old days where the buyer and the buyer's real estate agent, and even sometimes the buyer's lender, sometimes the buyer's insurance person, and even the buyer's attorney would all get together with the seller and the seller's real estate agent and the seller's attorney. Once in a great while, we might have that big party that we used to. But in most cases today, at least around here in Connecticut, or at least central Connecticut, I will say, because things are done a little bit different everywhere. In most cases, I will go with my buyer or my seller to the attorney's office, right? That buyer or seller will sign their paperwork, right? No problem. And then the buyer will go to the buyer's attorney's office and sign their paperwork. And then the two attorneys will either meet, or sometimes they will even next day air documents. Okay. So that's what it seems like is happening most of the time now. We don't really require an in-person big sit-down closing. There's electronic closings with remote notaries and all this good stuff going on, right? But I can still promise you that it still seems like a lot of paperwork. I think things are going to change in the industry pretty quick, right? And so you might want to make sure that, you know, you don't have a cramp in your wrist, right? And if you do, you know, do some wrist exercises. But if you do, I can promise you as a buyer, it's still going to be worth it, because now you're going to have your own place to live. You're going to be excited. Now, usually when you go to the closing, if you're the buyer, you get to bring what they call the wonderful world of closing costs. Now, once again, do we have closings that are available where the buyer can roll the closing costs into their mortgage? Of course we do. Do we have closings once in a while where sellers are willing to pay for closing costs? A little bit, not a lot here in Connecticut still. It used to be that way. But as we all know, the sellers right now, they have that leverage, right? They have that power. So we don't see a lot of that, right? But one of the things that you, as the buyer, should be on the lookout for, and that we try to help you with, is unexpected costs at closing. Now, I would tell you that if you have a great lender, like some of the lenders that I am familiar with, that I work with, that trust me, that I trust them. In fact, you know, one of the things I was thinking about early this morning is what a compliment it is when you're a real estate agent and you have a lender call you up to sell their home. And that's one of the things that's happened with me. I have a new listing on the market, and the reason why I do have the new listing on the market is because this agent, meaning this loan officer, called me up and said, Rob, I watch you. We've done a lot of business together. I see how you do things, and I need you to sell my home for me. I mean, to me, that's kind of a beautiful thing that I'm very, very appreciative of. And, that lender knows who he is. And so I want to say thank you for that, because I do put a lot of effort when it's time to sell a property, when it's time to help someone buy a property. I put a lot of effort into trying to make sure that I'm going to be able to help out that person to the most of my ability. So even when we talk about someone who's buying, hopefully you're not going to be surprised, because we want that lender to be able to explain things to you. And we know that there's, that as a buyer, you're definitely taking on the lion's share of the closing costs, but they're your closing costs. I mean, if you buy a home in cash, you're going to have less closing costs. But if you're getting a mortgage, right, you can generally expect your closing costs to be about 3 to 4% of the home sales price. It's as simple as that. And I would say probably even a little bit more. So if we're talking about a $300,000 home, I would tell you, depending on the town here in Connecticut, you're talking a $300,000 home, you're talking about $12,000 in closing costs. So remember, that's not including the down payment. Right? The down payment, most people, they're going to either get no money down or 3.5% down, or they'll decide to do 5% down or 10% down. That's money that you're putting as a down payment that's not going to go towards your mortgage principal, how much money you're actually borrowing. These closing costs, like this $12,000, right? We're going to go over in a few minutes the breakdown. Now, when it comes to a seller, we're usually talking closing costs about 1 to 3% of the sales price. So you do not want to be that buyer who tries to calculate the closing costs on your own. Get a lender that you feel comfortable with, maybe someone that I've referred you to that I feel comfortable with, and we'll help you out every step of the way. So once again, we can stop making that idea that you're going to be surprised all the time. Now, here's when we talk about the closing costs, here's kind of the basics of them, right? There might be a commission that you're going to pay. Most of the time, we're not seeing that for buyers, but once in a while, we might see a little bit of a commission. And I can tell you that I feel the industry is changing in this way, where maybe more buyers are going to end up paying commission, right? That is just the way the market is moving, where more buyers are probably going to end up paying commission. And you can thank the government for that, because right now what they're doing is they're having a lot of discussions with the National Association of Realtors, and are there monopolies, and are there antitrust laws being violated or not? Okay, so that's why it might seem like more buyers are going to start paying commission. Okay, there's a loan application fee that many lenders will charge. Many lenders will charge an origination fee, so that person who's processing your loan can get paid, right? There might be an appraisal fee. So in Connecticut, most of the time for a single family home, it's usually about $500. Is there a law or rule for that? No. But I usually see about $500. When it comes to multifamily, like duplexes or 3 or 4 family homes, might be closer to $600 or $700. And then it's only going to go up from there, the larger the properties. Okay. There could be a fee for pulling your credit report. There could be a fee for the lender's costs for the underwriting in order to do the research or whether you can approve the loan, get approved for the loan. There could be a title search fee. There could be property taxes that you have to pay. Maybe you have to pay them in advance, right? There could be insurance that you have to pay in advance. There could be, if you're not closing at the very end of the month, if you're closing in the middle of the month or in the beginning of the month, you're going to have a significant amount of prepaid interest. So that's where we talk about all these different things that are paid in advance or in arrears. Okay. So those might be things you want to talk about. And the nice thing about the closing costs, I guess, is that they're all one-time deals. You don't have to worry about that you're going to be paying them all the time. Hey, Wilson and Georgie, and nice try. Thank you so much for joining us. We definitely appreciate it. All right. What should I bring to the closing? If I'm a buyer, what should I bring? All right. So the first thing you need to bring is your government-issued photo ID. We need to make sure that you are the person you say you are. You need to bring a ratified sales contract, right? And so most of the time, your real estate agent, most of the time, your attorney is already going to have that. But is it good for you to have a little file of all your documents and that you know what you need to bring? Definitely. I would bring that. Okay. I would bring my homeowner's insurance certificate. I mean, you probably just spent a bunch of time on the phone or maybe the computer and you're doing bundling of your insurance, right? We've seen all these commercials. You need to bundle, right? You're going to save money if you bundle your auto and your homeowners and all that kind of good stuff. So you paid a good penny for that homeowner's insurance. Bring that certificate. If you're in a flood zone, you might need a proof of flood insurance. And then, of course, if there is money due because of your down payment or your closing costs, you're going to want to bring a cashier's check. So you need to get that number beforehand. Sometimes if it's a very small amount, like, I don't know if we would say under a couple $100, you could bring a personal check. But even then, a lot of attorneys or lenders, they don't like personal checks. You usually need to bring a cashier's check. Okay. We're getting there, my friends. So let's talk a little bit about title insurance. Okay. So first of all, if you are paying in cash, do you need title insurance? Not necessarily, but is it smart for you to get title insurance? Definitely. Okay. If you're getting a mortgage, every lender is going to require you to purchase title insurance, right? This is a policy that protects you, right? And it protects the lender from outside claims of the ownership of the property. And you might be like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Are you saying that someone could show up and just claim the house? Yes. I'm not saying I've ever seen it happen before, but I've heard about it. Like the example that we're given here, let's say a previous owner, they didn't pay all of their property taxes. Well, because those taxes remain against the property, the town could potentially take your home if you don't have a clean title, right? So title insurance will protect you from ownership claims over liens, fraudulent claims from previous owners, clerical problems in courthouse documents, and even forged signatures, right? So we want to make sure that title company, now in Connecticut, what they're usually going to do is the title company, right? Or your attorney with your paralegal, whatever it might be, they're going to do a title search, right? And they're going to look at the deeds, the wills, the trusts, the public records to trace the property's history. And usually they're going to go back 40 years, right? You didn't know you're going to learn all this information today, did you? You're going to go back 40 years and say, okay, starting from today, Mary she still owns the home and she bought it in 2003. And Mary bought it in 2003 from Joe. And Joe, they're going to go back until Joe bought it in 1998. Right? Now, let's say Joe bought it from Bill, but Bill sold it in 19 it shows that Bill actually sold the property to somebody else. You can't find out when he bought the property. There's 3 years that are missing. So that's when there becomes what they call a cloud on the title. And that's when your attorney has to start doing some extra work to find out what's going on and understand exactly what's going on with that. Right. And so ultimately, if you have a clear title, you're going to actually, like, you as the borrower, you are lucky enough to buy 2 insurance policies. Oh my gosh, I get to buy 2. Yep. You, number one, you get to buy the lender's insurance policy to protect the lender, and that's definitely required. Number 2, you get to buy your new owner, you're the new owner's title insurance, and that protects you, right? It's optional, but recommended. Why? Because it covers your interest in the property. If the insurance company loses a battle over the title in the future, but you purchased owner's title insurance, you will be fully protected. It will also cover your legal fees if you have to defend your ownership rights in court. So you can see that there's a lot going on for that. It usually will be, $1,000 to $1,500 and so forth. And we're going to make sure that that is taken care of, especially here in Connecticut, because we are going to get a lender for you and an attorney for you that you can trust, or you can choose your own. But of course, if you want to be in touch with the right people, I can definitely give you ideas on that. I can't be held responsible for their for their future performance. I can just tell you of what I've seen for past performance. Okay. If there's last minute issues, should you panic? Right? Well, at the very last minute, the lender is going to confirm your income, is going to confirm your credit, is going to confirm your debt. So if you decided at the last minute that you were going to quit your job, which we had somebody do that, right? We were in a real estate closing, and the paralegal walked in. I was with my seller, and we were with the buyer and so forth. And the paralegal walked in and told the attorney, "Excuse me, but you have to cancel the closing." And he's like, "I'm not canceling closing. Can't you see I'm in the middle of things?" And she's like, "Well, I have the bank on the phone. They want to talk to you, and they told me to tell you to cancel the closing immediately." So he walked out, right? The attorney walked out of the office, and 5-10 minutes later, he walked in and he looked at the buyer, right, the borrower, and said, "Well, we understand that you're no longer employed. Did you quit your job?" She's like, "Well, I went in my job this morning and gave them my 2-week notice because I have a new job that I'm starting in 2 weeks, and I want to spend these next 2 weeks moving into my new home." And he's like, "Well, technically right now, because you gave your notice just a couple of hours ago, you no longer have a job, which means that the mortgage company is no longer willing to give you your mortgage." And so, this woman, I found out, she actually took her a long time to buy another house. Okay. And so those are some of the things that can definitely happen. You want to make sure that you are not going out there and all of a sudden just going to Raymore and Flanagan because you wanted to buy new furniture, right? All of a sudden, hey, I'm going to buy some new furniture for my new home, and then come to find out that you can't even get the mortgage because you changed the scenario. You see, your credit changed, your lending changed, everything changed. So you want to be really, really careful of that. I even had a person that they did go out and buy a new car, and they started yelling at everybody in the room, like, "Well, I don't have a car. What am I supposed to do? Not have a car?" Well, that person, all they needed to do was wait another 48 hours because they bought the car on a Saturday, and Monday morning we were at the closing. And because that person bought that new car on Saturday, they no longer would get approved for that same mortgage. So be careful. Don't close accounts. Don't open accounts. Don't do anything like that at the last minute, especially when you're going to buy a property, because that is what's going to hurt you in the long run. All right. So here's where we're going to kind of wrap things up. But one of the things I want to go over with you now, I'm not making any money off of this, right? You can see this book is pretty much used up, right? But what this book is called is Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. And this is an awesome book by T. Harv Eker, right? Mastering the Inner Game of Wealth. Mastering the Inner Game of Wealth by T. Harv Eker. So if you have not read this book before, you are definitely going to want to do that. And I had a couple of different passages, that I really kind of love. And here we go. Here's one right here. This is what's called the wealth principle. Okay. Leaders earn a heck of a lot more money than followers. Now, we were always taught to be a leader. It doesn't mean that you have to be the best all the time. It doesn't mean that you can never be a follower, but you do have to think outside the pack. You have to make choices. You have to make decisions. You have to think about how you can motivate other people to be better so that you will be better as well. Okay. So basically, a leader believes in their value. That's why they make more money. They give more value to people. They help more people, right? They're in it to win it, to be able to think of someone else and provide a solution for them. Okay. So just as an example, right? Leaders earn a heck of a lot more money than followers, and that you have that opportunity right now today, that if you truly believe that you have what it takes to assist other people, it's your duty, it's your responsibility to go out and do that. Whatever it might be. It might be that you think that you can wash clothes better than anybody else, right? And that you know how to get these stains out. It might be that you are getting a cure for arthritis. It might be that you are helping people at the gym. It might be that you're helping people with electrician work, plumbing work. It might be that you're helping people get insurance. Whatever it is, take it and run with it, right? Don't sit back and let those gifts that God has blessed you with go to the side, right? Hey, Katie and Crazy Mela and Mamacita, thank you so much. And Baby Mama 6. I love some of these names, right? Thank you so much for joining us. We definitely appreciate it. And of course, we appreciate any likes and shares that you have. So I think that's where we're going to wrap it up for today. We went over why it's a great time for investors to unload. Then we talked about Jacqueline, right? Jackie C winning the Fun Day Monday. We talked about how you can be part of the Fun Day Monday raffle drawing. All you need to do is go to fundaymondaywithrob.com. We spoke about people who need to protect their investment, that maybe they're running behind on their mortgage, and what they need to do, what they should do, what they could do. And then we talked about things that you need to be aware of when you get through a real estate closing. And lastly, we talked about Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. So that's all I got for you today. This is Rob Rosa. Hopefully your favorite real estate broker. Signing out, my friends. I definitely wish you the best for everything. God bless you, and we'll talk to you soon.